Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Shanks Ranks. Today I have Thor, Love and Thunder, the 3D Blu-ray from Japan. And as always, it comes with the 4K disc, the 3D disc, and a standard Blu-ray. So the reason for my video today is I just want to talk about the picture quality and compare it to the IMAX enhanced version on Disney Plus to see which one is better, and also to give you an idea on whether you should spend your money importing this from Japan, because they can be pretty expensive. So I'll go into a few tech specs here real quick. The movie was shot with IMAX cameras in 4.5K resolution. It's got a 4K digital intermediate. So if you're watching this on Disney Plus, there is an aspect ratio of 2:39, which has the black bars on the top and bottom. And then during the action scenes, those are usually shot with an IMAX aspect ratio of 1:90, so it fills up your whole screen and you won't have black bars during those scenes. Unfortunately, on the 3D version here, we have a fixed aspect ratio of 2:39 throughout the whole movie. Sometimes it's one of those out of sight, out of mind things, but then other times you can notice that it hinders the 3D a little bit, and I'll get into that later. It's got a runtime of 1 hour and 58 minutes, which is great. It's not too long. And then it's also rated PG-13. For the most part, I'd say it's okay for kids. It does have some suggestive content and some innuendos. I think mostly it'll be adults that notice that stuff. But anyway, let's get into the picture quality of the 3D disc. So I was pleasantly surprised. Unlike the last one that I reviewed, which was Wakanda Forever, which I thought had too many dark scenes and seemed watered down in 3D, and had too much softness during some scenes in people's faces with digital noise reduction, it looked like. This was the complete opposite. This was very reminiscent of Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Picture was super bright, had that kind of ultra Funko Pop color thing going on. Especially during like the last half of the movie. I didn't have any issues with sickness with my eyes, like any strain, anything like that. Didn't have to take any breaks. So for the brightness quality, I'd probably just give this a 5 out of 5 stars off the bat. Now let's talk about the depth. So the first intro of the movie, where we find Gore the God Butcher, or before he's the God Butcher, that movie has sensational depth. And especially the scene where he finds that oasis hidden in the desert, where his deity that he worships is just chilling there after a fresh kill. That really stretches out. You've got Gore, you've got bushes, you've got oasis, water, and then the gods in the background, and it just really stretches in. It was very impressive. But then after that, the movie just kind of gets watered down in 3D, and I was thinking, okay, this is just like how I saw it in the movie theater. You know, that was my same initial response, was that in the movie theater, the 3D was just bland. But on the disc, though, I was pleasantly surprised. After, I want to say about 25 minutes of the movie, when they pretty much leave Earth and they go to Omnipotence City, where Zeus lives, that's where the 3D really starts to pick up. We have so much depth throughout, from beginning to end at that point. Same thing with the pop-out effects. I think my favorite scene would probably be, for depth, would probably be where they're on the Shadow Realm. I think that's what it's called, where Gore the God Butcher is holding the children hostage. And, you know, there's a scene where Valkyrie, Thor, and Jane, they go into like this tent where they're trying to find Gore, or where he's keeping the children. And they think that they're alone, but then Gore reveals himself. And he's kind of off in the distance of this tent, like in the shadows, and it just seems to stretch for an eternity, with like these shadow creatures that or tendrils that just start coming out, and there are so many layers of depth at that point. But yeah, that's just one example, but pretty much the whole of the movie after the first 25 minutes is like that. So for depth, I'd give this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. For the pop-out effects were good. Same thing, it starts out 25 minutes after the movie begins, I think. And the first 3D pop-out effect I saw was that damn screaming goat. I hated those goats throughout the whole movie, just screaming and screaming. But yeah, their faces, their snouts just come right off the screen at you. There were some disappointing parts, and this has to do with the aspect ratio. So to give you an example, in Thor Ragnarok, the 3D Blu-ray, there's a scene in the beginning of the movie where Thor starts to go ham with Mjolnir, and the hammer comes off the screen at the audience, and it's just flying around the room, killing, with the camera fixed on it, killing all of these demons. And because the aspect ratio opens up, you see the whole hammer, and it's really popping off your screen into the living room. There were same exact scenes like that in this movie, but because there were black bars cropping the image, parts of the hammer were covered, and so it never really did come out of the screen. However, it was made up for with scenes with Jane Foster. When she throws the hammer, it does this thing where it breaks apart into a bunch of glowing blue fragments, and those really do come off the screen. There were some times when I had to check myself and be like, hey, are those frame breaking? Are those fragments actually coming over the black bars? They weren't, unfortunately, but it still looked pretty damn good. So, like I said, the pop out is pretty much like that for the whole rest of the movie. I thought it was sensational. Not on par with like Guardians of the Galaxy, but almost there. For pop out effects, I'm gonna give this one a 4.4 out of 5 stars on this one. Now, comparing it to the IMAX enhanced version, I actually thoroughly enjoyed the 4K version on Disney Plus as well. No, I didn't bother watching the physical copy of it because the 4K physical copy here is cropped with black bars. It features HDR10 instead of Dolby Vision, and the streaming service offers Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, and IMAX Enhanced. I'm using an older Apple TV model with a wired connection, getting around 256 megabytes per second. So I don't have any issues with artifacting, any stuttering, nothing like that. The picture was great. What I love about it, obviously, is the uptake in resolution. The HDR obviously provides a much broader color spectrum. So there are scenes like, the scene where they're traveling to the Shadow Realm and they're in that kind of space area where there's like space dolphins and stuff like that. Looks very galaxy-like. That part just shines in HDR. It is just spectacular. It makes me... Have you ever had those gushers? Those sweet fruit snacks that bite into them and that fruit juice just like comes out and it's an explosion in your mouth? That's what it felt like for my eyes. Anyways, that's the most apt way I can describe it. And of course, having the IMAX enhanced, the big aspect ratio for all those action scenes really brought a full set of new immersiveness to the movie. And like the scenes that I was telling you about with the hammer coming off of the screen where it didn't really quite pop out because of the black bars, well, now there's no black bars, so it really does pop out. So which one is better? With this one, honestly, I'd probably say they're on par with each other. It just depends on what kind of mood you're in. Honestly, I'm going to flip a coin next time I watch it to see if I watched it in 3D or IMAX Enhanced. They're both really good. But the 3D disc, I'm going to give it a solid rating of a 4 out of 5 stars. It would be better if the first 30 minutes of the movie had more three-dimensional depth to it, and also if there was an IMAX enhanced version of it. But for that, I'm just going to bump it down a star. But 4 out of 5 stars is still a pretty strong rating. Do I think it's worth it? If you're a Thor fan, then yes, I think it's worth it. The 3D was great. There's not too much to complain about there. It's just all a matter of if you want to spend $60 to $70 on eBay importing it from Japan. And if you think about it, if you were to buy the 4K disc separately and the 3D disc separately, if 3D was still sold in America, then yeah, you would be paying roughly the same price. So I think it's worth the bundle. Yeah, let me know what you thought if you saw the movie. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And I can't wait to review the next one. I should be getting Ant-Man Quantumania sometime soon. Until then, thanks for watching, guys, and if you liked it, please subscribe.